Hi everybody, my name is Chef Fernando Mojica with LearnToCook.com. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to make a very special dish, a very cool dish today. We're going to make a dish called paella, a very traditional Spanish dish, okay? So there are a lot of different variations. The one we're particularly going to make today, we're going to use some chicken, we're going to use some shrimp. You can make a seafood paella with shrimp, clams or mussels and other types of seafood. You can also make a poultry paella. You can make a traditional paella, which has a little bit of sausage, a little bit of different meat to it. So once you get the right idea, the basic technique, you can get very creative with this. You can go ahead and do a couple different things with it. So for this particular one, like I said, we're going to make a chicken and a shrimp paella, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to need a few ingredients. This is a dish that has a lot of ingredients, but it's actually pretty relatively easy to make. So for this dish, we're going to use some shrimp. And what I've done with the shrimp is we did a peel and clean and devein. And we left the tail on just for better presentation. We're also going to use some Sanderson Farm chicken breast. We're going to dice those up. We're going to use some Swanson chicken stock. We're going to obviously use some rice, some green peppers, some red bell peppers, a little bit of onions. We're going to dice those up. A little bit of garlic that we chopped, and a little bit of butter from we're using the everyday essential butter. Obviously some salt and pepper. So a couple of things that we do before we get going on the stove is we need to warm up our chicken stock, and we're going to infuse the chicken stock with the saffron. What I mean by that, all right, so the saffron is a thread of a plant, and it's basically a very floral aroma and taste. So what this is going to do is it doesn't imparts a lot of flavor, but also a lot of color. And as you can see, it's just the threads of it, just the thread of the plant. And so we need to put this in a hot liquid. In this case, we're going to use chicken stock. So we need to put this in a hot liquid so that the flavor gets we get all that flavor and all that color out of it. So we're going to warm more chicken stock that we have here. Then we're going to just throw the saffron in there, and we're going to stir it up. Once you stir it up, you can see it's going to start to get some of that yellow and reddish color. Once we have that, we're ready to go into the stove. So we have our chicken stock warm up. We're going to warm up our pan. There's a special pan out there called a paella pan. We don't necessarily need to use that, but you want to make sure that it's an oven-safe pan. The reason we do an oven-safe is because we're actually going to bake these. We're going to throw this in the oven. So you want to make sure that there's no plastic, that's whatever container you're using is safe to use in the oven. So we're going to heat up our pan. We're going to melt the butter. We're going to heat up the oil. First thing we're going to do is we're going to saute the shrimp, all right? We're going to sear the shrimp. So we're going to let it sit for about a minute or two, get all that nice sear, get a nice color, and then we're going to get it out of the heat because we don't want to cook it right now. Paella takes about 30 minutes to cook, so we don't want to overcook the shrimp. We just want to get a pre-cook, a pre-sear on it, then we're going to come back and do the rest of it, all right? Once it's seared on that one side, we're going to go ahead and flip it. So we sear both sides. This only takes about a minute on each side, okay? So it doesn't take too long. Okay, so once the shrimp is seared, again, it only takes about a minute on each side, okay? We're going to get it out of the heat. We're going to let it sit there. We're going to let it sit. We don't want to keep it warm because that's actually going to cook it. So we're just going to let it sit, try to cool down a little bit, and then we're going to finish cooking it and warming it up once we get a little bit further into the paella process. So the next step we're going to make is we're going to sear our chicken, all right? So we're going to drop the chicken in here. And when you do that, you want to be careful so that the oil doesn't splash back at you. So just be very careful of that, okay? So let the chicken sear. We're going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. So once that's ready, we're going to go ahead and start adding all the vegetables. We're going to add the onions, and we're going to saute those. We're going to add the peppers and the garlic. You're going to saute those over heat. Want to make sure that the garlic doesn't burn, the vegetables doesn't burn. You want a nice caramelize, but you don't want it to burn. So you want to be careful with your heat level. We're going to season it with salt and pepper again. We call these built-in flavors. So you season as you go instead of seasoning all the way at the end. You impart more flavor to the dish itself. Okay. So, but once the vegetables are translucent, starting to get a nice color, you want to go ahead and start adding the rice, and you want to make sure that the rice gets covered in all the fat that you have on the pan. Okay, make sure that all the grains of rice get nice and covered. This is going to add, again, toast the rice, add a lot more flavor to the dish. So once these are covered, we're gonna grab the chicken stack that we infused with the saffron. We're gonna put it into the pan. Then we're gonna stir it up, make sure that that liquid goes over all the rice, all the ingredients. Okay, so our paella is done. Like I say, we cooked it for about 15-20 minutes on the oven, took it out, we unwrapped it, we added the shrimp so they can finish warming up and it can finish cooking. Then we cooked it for about another 3 minutes uncovered. So what that's gonna do is that's gonna cook the shrimp. That's also gonna do a nice crust on top, very classical paella characteristic. You got a nice little crunch on top. So from there, we're just gonna go ahead and plate it up. And just put a couple more shrimp on top just so that you can see the ingredients. Then we're just going to garnish it with a little bit of parsley on top, all right? Just a little bit, don't too much, you don't want to overpower it. So as you can see, this is a relatively simple dish to make. A lot of flavor to it, a lot of components to the dish, but it's got a lot of, a lot of protein, some vegetables, some rice. It got a little bit of everything, so a nice meal in and of itself. So I hope you enjoy making the paella. And I hope you join us again next time. So thanks for joining us. My name is Chef Fernando Mojica with LearnToCook.com.
Well, thanks for joining us today at LearnToCook.com. Be sure to comment and to subscribe. Also visit us on Facebook and Twitter. Have a great day and thank you.